Today we are going into the Woodbridge Card and Comic Show. It's kicking off our 2 months of one convention at least a week. Yes, we're bringing on an adventure of
that's a lot of money to spend.
Multiple conventions. We're going to try to keep track of how many comics we buy. So we're starting off here in Woodbridge. It's inside a mall, so we have no idea what to expect. This starts off the big adventure. Let's see what we can find. Before we get started, I just want to say that I have been collecting comic books for over 40 years, and part of the appeal of Collectors Confessions is that we are hoping to help my daughter and you, our loyal viewer, to become better, more knowledgeable, stronger collectors. Today's adventure to the Woodbridge Toy and Collectible Show is a very important journey for me. The Woodbridge Show was held in the Woodbridge Mall, which happens to be the place I bought my very first comic book with my own money.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. It is.
I didn't know that.
The comic shop that was there is long gone, but the first time I ever bought a comic book with my own personal money, it's not the first comic book I ever had. First time I used my money to buy a comic book.
Why were you in Woodbridge and not Staten Island?
We used to go to Woodbridge all the time. The Woodbridge was a more upscale mall at the time, supposedly. I'll show you the comic that I bought at the end of this video and tell you...
Is it the original comic, too?
No. And tell you my one regret with... Actually, yes, it is. I found it in the pile of comic books at Nanny's. Yes, so it is the original comic book I bought. I will also tell you the one regret I have with that one comic book. So when we first went into the mall for the show, we were really, really worried.
Disappointed.
Disappointed because we only saw Pokemon cards. Lots and lots of Pokemon cards. Every single table that we went to had a form of Pokemon card at it. So as we continued to walk around, we became more and more concerned because as far as the eye could see were vendors selling one thing: Pokemon cards.
Only Pokemon cards.
Table after table was filled with Pokemon. Old, new, rare, common, packs.
And it was packed. I mean,
packed.
There was a lot of people buying, trading. That's just not us. We don't collect Pokemon cards, so we weren't there for that.
They had packs, cases. They had every type of Pokemon in any form you could possibly imagine. So at this point, I said to Cassidy, this convention might be a bust. And we were supposed to go to another convention called Cosmic Con in Manhattan, and we bailed on that because before we even walked in the door, it would have cost us like $120, $40 for tickets, $40 to park.
Yeah.
Travel would have cost us another $40. So we were like, you know what? Let's go to this free convention. We didn't pay anything to get in, and we'll walk around here and hopefully we'll find some vendors that we know, some of the vendors we see at all the other Jersey conventions. But unfortunately, it was pretty much Pokemon cards. The Pokemon cards actually look really cool displayed in cases. The setup that all the vendors have looks awesome. But we were getting worried because literally we walked around.
Didn't see any comics.
Nothing else. Pokemon cards. Table after table after table. And as Cassidy said, packed. 3 deep looking at Pokemon cards. Not for us, but we understand where it falls into the collectible market. It's a great place for people to start if your kids are Pokemon fans, and maybe you didn't, but now they are. So you're buying Pokemon cards. We were saved, but not by a comic book vendor, but by a unique vendor who was selling film cells. Cassidy will explain.
So basically, he had mostly Star Wars, which immediately caught my eye, obviously, because I am a big Star Wars fan. But he also had quite a bit of Titanic and some other things.
Spider-Man.
But yeah, well, he had like one display of Spider-Man. So it was mostly 70 millimeter film cells. So it'd be one shot of it, which maybe I bought one. So you will see that later.
Maybe, we'll see. But
he had some individual ones that you could buy, and they varied in price based on the scene. Most of them were from The Empire Strikes Back, so obviously some of the more famous scenes were a lot more expensive than other ones and different characters. But he also displayed them beautifully, and that's what he mainly tries to sell. So it will be multiple of these film cells with... you need a backing light to see the scene. So He had them in different cases, ranging from about $100 to over $200. I personally wasn't gonna be spending that money because I don't ever spend my money on one item at a convention that expensive. But they looked amazing. And I actually asked him where he got them from, and he said that he mostly gets them from eBay. There's a lot of eBay sellers who sell these film cells, but they sold them after the movies. It was sold by Lucasfilm.
The first 3, right? 1, 2, and 3 after they came out, right, in the 90s.
Yeah, I think it's the first 3 movies. Because, yeah, it's... no, not the prequels.
Oh, not the prequels.
The originals.
No, they didn't sell those in the 70s.
Though. No, not in the 70s, but they weren't...
so they were selling them before the prequels came out.
I don't know when they sold them.
I have no idea when they sold them.
I don't know what year. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe you have one, we'll see.
But they didn't sell prequel ones. Okay. Unless there are ones out there that I don't know about. But these were the original Star Wars film cells, because those were also all filmed on 70mm film.
And there's lots of them out there.
Were they all on 70mm?
Yeah.
There's different millimeters.
So this just made us a little bit hopeful because he didn't have any Pokemon. So we were a little bit hopeful that there was going to be something more than Pokemon. So we kept walking and we found some toy booths and they had a lot of cool stuff. Let's take a look at some of the toys we saw. I particularly really liked the neon Batman figures. They had Mr. Freeze and Joker. I'd never seen those before. I thought they looked really, really cool, and if you put them under black light, they shine.
I thought the Living Dead dolls were cool. I personally don't collect dolls because I find them a little creepy, but I do think the horror ones look really cool. They had Wizard of Oz, they had Scooby-Doo, which I've seen the horror Living Dead dolls. I've never seen the Scooby-Doo ones.
Every time I see the Living Dead dolls, I'm surprised at what properties they have. I don't know how they have the properties. We also saw Funko Pops.
A lot of Funko Pops.
A lot of Funko Pops. It's a convention, so you expect to see Funko Pop after Funko Pop after Funko Pop. So there were a lot of Funko Pops, as to be expected.
But it was also in a mall, so I feel like that might appeal more to
That's crowds. A good point. So when you have a convention inside a mall, vendors have to adjust to what they're selling based on the fact that a lot of your traffic isn't going to be diehard collectors. You go to a comic book convention and I got to pay, even if I have to pay $3 to get in, the person that pays $3 to get in is a collector. In a mall, it's foot traffic, and there was a lot of foot traffic because it was not really a great day outside. It was cold, so everyone was headed to the mall and shopping, and people were looking at Funko Pops. And we also saw the card vendor that we saw at Queen's Comic Party.
Saw at a Queen's Comic Party. Yep.
He makes them himself. Let's take a look at these cards are fantastic to me, and we overheard how he does it. He actually has it printed repeatedly, and that's how he builds it up. So he's not cutting up multiple cards. He's only using the base of the card and then building up from the base of the card. So this is the second time we've seen him. Hopefully he's doing well. I think Cassidy's gonna try to make him.
He was talking to someone about how if they want a custom done, he can do any card, and he just needs to be sent the card, and then he'll make prints of it and make it 3D.
Yeah, that really.
I mean, they look so cool. I'll probably buy one eventually. Sooner or later, eventually.
There was also some artist tables around the convention selling stuff like handmade stuff, like stuff we see at other conventions, which was nice. Convention was really spaced out. We were still getting worried, so at this point, no comic book vendors, but we were having fun just looking at the stuff they had. So finally, we found some comic book vendors.
And I think we realized that all the Pokemon cards were together, and we just happened to enter them all
toys were together.
Right by the cards, and then all the toys were together. A lot of the comics were together, so they really did try and
sectioned it off.
Yeah, they sectioned it off.
All the different types of collectibles together. Cards in one area, Funko Pops in one area, toys in one area, and then there was a small area of comic books. There was only like 4 or 5 comic book vendors, but Cassidy did what she loves to do. She found some dollar bins, and as soon as we saw them, she headed straight for the dollar bins and started searching through them. There was also a bunch of wall books. Look at the videos from the wall books right now and try to figure out which one I bought, because I bought one of the wall books right from these wall pictures. So take a look. So Cassidy, what did you like about the Woodbridge Toy and Collectibles show?
I did really like the Star Wars film cell guy, which I had never seen before. And we actually told him that he would do very well at, comic conventions. Because this was more almost like a market inside a mall.
I emailed him some upcoming conventions that might be better suited to him. Garden State Comic Fest, Super Jersey Comic Expo. I said, these would be great for you because you have pure collectors going there, and something like this is something that collectors look for. So,
I mean, and even though we didn't really buy toys, I did really appreciate the volume of toys that were there, and the volume, but also a lot of different toys that we don't usually see at other conventions. So I did really appreciate the amount of toys.
I liked 2 things about the convention. I really liked there were so many unique vendors. So there's vendors that we've never seen at other conventions. I guess because it's a mall convention, you get a different group of sellers there, a different group of retailers. So I always like seeing different retailers. Like Cassie said, the cell guy was awesome. Seeing the card guy again, those things are good. There was some really cool artists there who were selling their handmade stuff. I also find it, anytime we see card collectors, I find it really incredible that they carry these hard cases around with them. So they have, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, they carry these small cases that are like this big. Here, we'll show you. And they keep their cards in there. I think it's a little bit dangerous to do that.
Every time we see one, he always goes off about it.
You're keeping your cards of value in there. And to me, those things are easily taken, right? So as comic book collectors, most of us carry some type of book bag. We carry something that we have attached to our body. These card things, you're holding a handle. I've seen guys open up and have cards in there valued, thousands of dollars worth of value in there. To me, it always takes me back. Like, why you're advertising that there's, money in there? That's me. That's old man me saying, gotta be more careful with your stuff. So we did buy comic books. and maybe some other stuff. So let's look at the haul. Cassidy will show her haul first.
Okay, so I will start with what I already talked about, which is the Star Wars film cell. So it does say on the back, it is patented 1997, so these were sold in the late 90s.
Probably right after episode 1, right?
What year was it? Was it 97 or 99?
I thought it was 97, but
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure someone will correct us in the comments. But let me see if I can shine the light and you can see what.
There you go.
So it's the scene where Leia is fixing part of the Millennium Falcon. This was one of the cheaper options, and I also did want one with Princess Leia in it, or Princess Leia or Luke Skywalker in it, but the Luke Skywalker ones were a lot more expensive. So I got this one, and I think he only had 70mm ones, but Star Wars was filmed on both 35mm and released on 70mm.
So Cassidy always buys Star Wars stuff, and she didn't disappoint.
I only bought Star Wars stuff actually at this convention.
Shocker.
Although I don't usually buy that much at conventions.
You bought something you don't normally buy either.
I know. So this is my comic haul from the convention. I found an old Star Wars in the dollar bins, which we never see.
Old Marvel Star Wars in
so this is Star Wars 44. It's Empire Strikes Back.
We never see those.
Actually, and one of the best things when you go up to a comic vendor is when they tell you, here are dollar bins. I didn't look through it. I don't know what's in there.
There might be something really valuable in there because I didn't go through them.
And he actually told us how one time a guy found a comic book that was signed by someone, and he didn't know who the signature was, so he was like, yeah, I'll still give it to you for $1 because it was in the dollar bin.
It's a good way to get people to go through dollar bins. We were going to go through anyway, but it's a good way to entice, people to go through your dollar bins.
And then I haven't seen this comic before, but it looks really cool. So it's
IDW.
Star Wars Ghosts of Vader's Castle, Dawn of the Droids.
Cool.
So definitely Dawn of the Dead reference.
Cool cover.
But what immediately caught my eye was having Anakin and Padme on the cover.
Cool.
So very interesting. Although it does intrigue me that it's IDW, but it's also Disney down here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Interesting. So before, it's not Dark Horse, it's not Marvel. Okay, cool.
So I bought 2 Star Wars comics from the dollar bins.
And you spent some money on your film cell.
On the film cell.
So
the film cell I actually got for $25, which I thought was a bargain. I thought that was a pretty good price for that.
Didn't cost us $22 to get in, so we saved money. So here's my haul. I bought, nowhere near what I normally buy. I think I'm disappointing Cassidy because my hauls are getting lower and lower. JLA Black Baptism. This is issue 1. This is the only issue I needed. I have the other ones and I never see this. So this was in a dollar bin, so I actually found something in dollar bin that I've really been looking for. And now I could actually read the entire series. So there you go. Issue number 1. Thor 266. Cassidy found this in a dollar bin. It's an old Thor, so we've been collecting them. There you go, for $1. Why not? They had some Fantastic Four. Not number 1. This is Fantastic Four 50 Fantastic Years. It's a 50th anniversary one. Fantastic Four has been around for more than 50 years. There you go. It's not issue number 1 that we want, but it is an issue number 1. Fantastic Four Annual 2000. Not sure. I'm shocked that they had 2000 annuals. I think that was a little bit of a joke on their part. This is set in the future. So there you go. Another Fantastic Four. And another Fantastic Four FF8. I haven't read this series, but been picking it up. It's a much later series, and I still don't understand why they titled it FF and not Fantastic Four. But there you go. This too.
We did really have to go scour the dollar bins because it was a lot of indie things that I didn't recognize.
Starman 27, another series from the 90s DC that I'm trying to collect. I have that Justice League Europe and America run that I'm trying to collect everyone that was in it at the time. That's my DC run. Here is my Marvel run, Alpha Flight number 130. This is key number 1. This is the final
DC, but
issue.
you said Fantastic Four.
Oh, shoot, they were mixed in.
Yeah.
Oh, they were mixed in. There was only one DC. There were two DC. I messed up. Sorry, man. Good picking up. See, you're learning. See, I am teaching her. She is learning.
I think I already knew that Fantastic Four was Marvel and not
good.
DC.
This is key number 1. It's the final issue of Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight ran for 130 issues. Here is the key from the wall that I bought. Yes, I bought a wall book. Hopefully you put your guess in. What do you think I picked up? Which one in the walls? ROM number 1. It's key number 2. It's the first appearance of Rom, the first appearance of the Prime Director, the first appearance of the Dire Wraths, and the first appearance of Space Knights. Also bought another key, Avengers 56. This is from a vendor that we have seen at Queen's Comic Party that we saw at Winterfest. This is key number 3. This is the origin of Captain America retold. Great cover too. And, of course, we went to a convention, so if we go to a convention, what do we have to pick up? We have to pick up a Fantastic Four.
Of course.
So from that same vendor, I picked up Fantastic Four 64. This is key number 4. This is the first appearance of the Kree Intergalactic Sentry, which is him, and the first mention of the Kree. So there you go. They didn't start appearing until 64. I think the Skrulls appear in issue 2, if I remember correctly. So there you go. There's this somewhat small haul. Still good. We had a good day. We ended up going to Hot Topic after, buying presents for my older daughter, and we had a nice day there. So let's get back to what I said earlier. So when I was a kid, the first time I ever bought a comic book with my own money, I had $1 or so, and actually I had $1, to be honest with you. I had $1 to buy a comic book, so I went into this comic store in the Woodbridge Mall. It was upstairs, very close to where we were buying comics at the convention, and I picked up Marvel's No Prize, and I didn't realize that there was tax, so I had to pay a little bit more than $1. But so I was with my aunt at the time. My aunt gave me a little bit more money, and my regret for this comic book is that I never got it signed by Stan Lee. I had always thought, you know what, it would be really cool to get the first comic book I bought my own money, which had Stan Lee on the cover, dressed as Dr. Doom, signed by Stan Lee. And I kept putting it off, and then he was $100, and I was like, oh my God, he's $100, I don't want to spend $100, and then I lost my opportunity. So I really wish that this had Stan Lee's signature on it, but it doesn't. But it loops back. Like comic book collecting always comes back to when you were a kid, and it's memories and it's nostalgia, and that's why I still collect this day, and now I share it with my daughter, and I share it with you guys. Collecting is a community thing, so we had a great time, and it was the start of our comic convention palooza. We're going to do a convention at least one every week for the next 8 weeks.
If our budget allows it.
No such thing
If
as a
my budget allows
So
it.
give us a gift if you would like. Become a member. That will help us get to more conventions, and the more you give, the further away we go. We have levels of membership that you could definitely check out. Cassidy also wanted to show she'd been buying comic books in the last couple episodes so she can make
things,
stuff. So
as I have mentioned multiple times.
Cassidy makes.
So I have only just started making things. I'm actually working on some other things, but I have 3 sets of earrings done. So most of the comics that I'm using are actually comics that I've had for years and have been in a box. So most of them are preview comics, so it's basically just the covers of some comics and a page or two from that. And I also have a lot of free comic book day comics
we used to go all the time when she was little.
That I don't need or necessarily want, so I'm using them to make things. So first ones that I have that I made from preview comics are Daredevil earrings. So I got these wooden earrings on Amazon, so they're double-sided. I just Mod Podged them. So one says I am Daredevil, one says I am Matt Murdock. So these are my first pair of earrings that I made. Then I am also a huge Rebels fan, Star Wars Rebels fan. So one of the previews had cover art for a Rebels comic book. So I cut out 4 of the characters and put them on earrings, double-sided. Got Hera, Kanan, Ezra, Sabine. So making more earrings, and I'm sure I'll have a lot. They're not made that well, but they're well enough for me to wear.
People have commented on some of the ones she's made before when we're at a convention.
Then, lastly, I made earrings. Well, I actually started cataloging my comic books, and I had a duplicate of a Star Wars comic, so I was like, I'll use it to make earrings.
She's cutting up comic books.
Yikes! Blasphemy. So I actually got, these are supposed to be wooden ornaments, so I bought them. They were heavily on sale after Christmas, and I figured that I can make earrings out of them. So they are very big, but I like big earrings. So I have Princess Leia. She is in an X-Wing fighter. So I just thought that this looked really cool. So I got some text that says Princess Leia Organa.
They are cool.
It's her as a pilot.
Maybe you'll get a table one day and sell them.
Sure.
Sure. Anything else? Is that all you made?
That's all I've made so far.
Very good. So there you go. That's our Woodbridge Woodbridge card and collectible show. It was good. I recommend, if you're a Pokemon fan and you see it, go. Toy fan, go. Comic book fan, if you have family with you.
Yeah, it was okay.
You're
also at a mall.
You're at a mall. There's a lot of places to eat.
I always love Hot Topic, so knew that I would buy something there.
Worth it. It's inside. It was cold outside, so there you go. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next time.